Just the way it is. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it as always. Story about how the people approve of what's happening. There is going to be, and I've spent a lot of time arguing about this, the politics in America are going to be what they are. I spent a couple of nights, week or so ago on CNN, and I disagree with the premise of the angle that they were taking, which was, we all know, and I'm putting words in their mouth. This is the impression I got. We all know that Trump is crazy. He's going to make horrible decisions. Can America survive? Let's talk about it. You know, it's odd. He's made some reasonable choices, but even, you know, a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. A broken clock is right twice a day. But we all know that in essence, he's just going to be a terrible president. I don't agree with that principle. I have a wait and see attitude. The other thing is, as I've gotten older, is I'm not a blind follower of anyone. I never have been, but I certainly am not as I get older. My analogies are usually off base to some degree. To say that I'm a big Miami Hurricanes football fan is an understatement. It has been a part of my life and my brotherhood with my brothers. It has been such a big part of our family our entire lives. The connection that my surviving brother and I feel to our brother who passed away over 20 years ago, we still talk football, and inevitably Tom's name will be brought up in that conversation. It is something that's been a part of our family for years. My team lost a game I believe they should have won, knocked them probably out of the playoffs, and I am a realist. We didn't deserve to win the game. We played horribly. We were up 21 points to a team that we were double-digit favorites against, and we lost the game. So we don't deserve anything from that. It bothers them, it hurts, but I'm looking at the reality of this. The reality of the election cycle is the American people had something unique in this election cycle. They didn't have one person with a resume and one person with a list of dreams. They had two resumes to look at. The last 4 years and the 4 years before that. That was the choice they had to make. And they made a choice, and they made a very definitive choice. And the choice was to go back with what they had 4 years previously. That given the choice between 4 more years of a Biden administration, and that's exactly what they saw in a Harris administration, or to get 4 more years of a Trump administration, the popular vote, a trouncing when you look at the Electoral College. The Senate was taken over. The majority in the House continues. Trump gained in every demographic. He got more Hispanic votes than any Republican ever. And so there is no doubt about that. So this idea that America can't stand him, I don't subscribe to. The American people also are not going to be lining the streets like Trump supporters do. They're not going to be in the Trump trains and flying the Trump flag. The average American says, okay, we believe that your plan is the better plan. Now show us. Show us. You've got 2 years to show us. What are you going to do? There is the consternation, and this is the other side of the political thing. Here's 2 stories. One says a New York Times op-ed argues resentful men manosphere. Again, it's all sexist. The manosphere and overall anger and loneliness led to the Trump victory. No, it's headlines like this that led to the Trump victory. The manosphere. We're not going to vote for a woman. We're certainly not going to vote for a woman of color. We're just not ready to do that. We elected Barack Obama. And I don't mean this as an insult. It's an observation. We elected in 2008, just a few years removed from the 9/11 tragedy, we elected a man named Barack Hussein Obama to the presidency, not once but twice. So the American people they can't be what you want them to be when they vote for you and what you hate when they don't. And that's what's happening here. Here's another one. Former lawmaker takes a shot at MSNBC for meeting with Trump at Mar-a-Lago. Here's part of the problem as well. This is a guy named David Jolly, who's now an analyst on MSNBC. He said, we didn't wake up after the election and think, I'm upset because I was wrong. We're upset because we know we're right, but we're on the losing side of this battle. All of that's fair so far. And so what does that mean for a responsible media, for a responsible electorate, for a responsible Democratic Party in this environment? He said, don't just say we're going to give equity to Donald Trump, which some people are doing in the Democratic Party and the media among the electorate. In other words, go get him. So in the opinion-driven world we live in, I get it. Everybody on Twitter, or X, everybody on every social media platform has an opinion, and I think that's what's great about the internet. I think it's fantastic that there's an unfiltered place for you to espouse your opinions. Whether I agree with them or I don't, I will always fight for your right to have those opinions. But when you wrap it around the veil, and it's a very thin veil of journalism, and you call it journalism, it's not. Media is what he says, and he means media. Does anybody think that MSNBC or anybody at MSNBC is going to give a fair shake to Donald Trump? They aren't. They're going to be hypercritical. He's upset that Morning Joe went to Mar-a-Lago to meet with the president-elect. That's the only responsible journalistic thing that those two have done since they've been on the air. If you remember, they were the ones bringing mental health experts on their show to tell you that Donald Trump was mentally ill. They did it for a long time. So the idea that you got a lawmaker saying we shouldn't do this, you got an op-ed writer at the New York Times saying that it was resentful men in the manosphere that caused this. No, it was your lack of a plan. The Democratic senator from Ohio, Brown, claimed he lost re-election because Republicans rigged the system. It was the language they wrote. I will tell you from a point of view of someone that's a pretty staunch Republican, if I want to be selfish, I would say to you, I hope they never learn their lesson. I hope they continue to talk this way. Because if you don't learn your lesson, you're never going to win. You got to be honest when you lose. And they're not being honest. RFK calls to ban one of Big Pharma's most powerful tools and rattle drug makers despite uncertain political prospects. The American people are demanding change. Now, is Donald Trump going to hit a home run on every choice that he makes, whether it's a choice of someone to work for him or a choice in policy? No way. Is he going to hit singles sometimes? Is he going to strike out sometimes? I believe everybody does. But the American people wanted to see change. They've watched the American government turn into this massive, massive thing. And what's funny about it is if you look, even Bernie Sanders says that Elon Musk is right. That Elon Musk is right about talking about getting rid of some of the money that's going to the budgets of some of these massive government agencies, including the Department of Defense, because they can't account for the money they already have. Even Bernie Sanders sees value in that. That we have got a government that's big and bloated, and everybody's afraid. We're all afraid of the IRS and how it's gotten even bigger in the last couple of years. That's not a partisan statement. There are Democrats that feel that way. Certainly a ton of independents. So the American people want change. And the change that they're looking for, they may not completely understand exactly what that is, but they're looking at this and saying, we want to see things differently. We don't like the path we're on. So they voted for a change. So it's an opportunity. I don't think that this is a slam dunk for President Trump. Not at all. I think that this is a very positive wait and see. Let's see what they do. Will they perform? If this turns into a revenge tour, if this turns out to be what the left is saying it's going to be, it'll be a disaster for Donald Trump. It'll be a disaster for the Republican Party. And in my opinion, a disaster for America. If he goes in to clean up the mess, and it is the mess he's talking about, and if he goes in to make significant changes that reduces the size and power of government, he could end up being a hero. Which way will it go? None of us know. But I'm going to wait and see before I make a decision.
Thanks for watching the Mike Broomhead Show. Catch up on Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast, and click the button in the middle to subscribe.